From the nation's capital, Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. A weekly discussion about the federal issues most important to Nevada. And now, from Washington, D.C., here's Marilee Joyce.
And good day to you. I'm Marilee Joyce, and this is Eye on Washington. It's the only Nevada news program produced in Washington, D.C. And every week, Eye on Washington takes you straight to Capitol Hill for a discussion with Nevada's delegation and other leaders about the federal matters that matter to you. Today's topic, a busy day in the life of a Nevada senator, why one Nevada leader has taken on 6 committee assignments. She is my guest today, of course, Nevada U.S. Senator Cortez-Masto. Thanks for being here again.
Thank you. It's good to see you.
Always nice to have you here. Well, due to the sheer volume of work and issues facing the Congress, the House and Senate have committees with legislative jurisdiction over everything from housing to health to many dozens more topics. And today on Eye on Washington, we'll learn about my guest's many committee memberships. We will look at the importance of having a Nevada senator on each of them, and we'll find out some of the issues she's worked on in committee that she says focus on you. First, let's name them quickly. The senator serves on 6 committees, all whose issues touch on matters you and my audience likely are concerned about. The Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs, the Committee on Energy and Natural Resources, the Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation, the Committee on Rules and Administration, the Committee on Indian Affairs, and the Special Committee on Aging. Now, why should you care about those committees out there in Nevada? Well, bills and resolutions are referred to committees, which then select items for further consideration, then hearings, then possibly amendments, then a full-scale Senate debate, and maybe a law. And Senator, anyone over the age of 30 feels like I just talked about that song from Schoolhouse Rock, I Am a Bill, aging us a bit. But I did want to just kind of lay out a bit of info about the committees. But anyway, welcome back to the show. And we are going to look at the 6 committees. We'll touch on them a little later in the show. What I wanted to start with was if you would help my audience, our viewers and listeners across the state, could you help us better understand the importance of committees?
Oh, absolutely. That's where debate takes place. That's where the transparency takes place. That's where you work across the aisle, work with your colleagues on good policy that is necessary and needed without unintended consequences, without unfunded mandates, that's supposed to have a positive impact on all of our communities. Sure. And that's where that debate, that's where the bills usually start, that negotiation.
Now I want to ask something about you. When you consider that the Senate divides its work among 20 permanent committees, 4 joint committees, some occasional temporary special committees, I know you serve on one of those as well, 6 seems like quite a load.
It is, and I didn't know that as a freshman senator, but my staff did, and so we were running around trying
you just kept going,
to
that'll
cover
help
everything.
Nevada, that would help, and also
yes.
this.
So what happens is, as a new senator, you don't get to pick your committees. They actually, leadership picks them for you. Okay. And obviously, they try to balance out the number of the senators based on party. And if you're in leadership, you have obviously more of your party on that committee. But you can request your committees, and the committees that I am on, I requested, and I was lucky enough to get them.
So how do you do that? So in other words, committees are assigned the number, et cetera, without so much input, but you get to work on those that matter most to your state, or you get
request
some
them.
say.
So what happens is you, as a new freshman senator, you have all the committees in front of you, and you can request, here's my priority of where I would like to be, in order of priority, which committees that you would want. And when I sat down and went through this with my staff, trying to figure out, I was looking for those committees that, one, have an impact on Nevada, that I can make a difference for the people and the businesses in Nevada. 2, that I also had some background or familiarity with, or issues that I still wanted to continue to work on, as I had been as Attorney General. And then 3, the committees, for me, I wanted some that really had an opportunity to work with my colleagues across the aisle, working with everyone, hopeful that there would be this bipartisan kind of theme and attitude. And every single one of those committees, I am I'm glad to say that they are. There's one committee I did not get on, but that's, I'm told, because I'm a freshman and I have to gain seniority.
Can we know what?
It's a money committee.
Oh.
Yes, so I would like to be on finance. I'm still working to do that. But at the same time,
Yes, you're on banking.
I am on banking and housing, and that gives me the ability to address issues that I have dealt with in the past, like taking on some of the big banks, right, in the foreclosure in Nevada as AG, and still work on to make sure we're preventing that type of, hopefully, a recession from ever happening again that we saw in Nevada.
You know, I think most of us, when we think of the workings of the Senate and the House, we think of you all on the floor voting. I mean, that's really the pictures that you get. Or making statements, et cetera. But the reality of it is that a lot of the real work happens in committees, doesn't it?
That's right. That's why they're so important. And that's why having those committees, making sure the public knows when they occur, having the discussion and the debate and the introduction of the bills is very important. And it's something that I truly believe in. It's the only way really that I think the general public has an understanding of what's happening here in Congress and what we're working on. And it's important.
Okay. And when we return, the jurisdiction of two biggies, Banking Committee, it's the jurisdiction, the jurisdiction of Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs, and Energy and Natural Resources, two that might greatly matter to you. That's coming up next.
You're watching Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, brought to you by Caesars Entertainment, the Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, the Las Vegas Sands Corporation, the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, NV Energy, Jim Marsh Automotive and Body Shop, the Rogich Communications Group, and Renown Health.
I have 3 tests next week. I'm going to be studying all weekend. Ugh. Are you studying tonight? We can meet up and study together. Oh yeah, that sounds good. What time? I work until 6. Okay, sounds good. Just text me after. Okay. No!
There is no text, tweet, or call that's worth a life.
One pedestrian death is one too many.
Look up.
And look out for each other.
Want more federal news that affects Nevada, its businesses, and its residents? Then you need to subscribe to Nevada's Washington Watch newsletter, your sole source of online news direct from Washington, D.C. Visit joycecommunications.com and subscribe today.
Planet Hollywood, Paris, Harrah's, Caesar's Palace. It's one of the most exciting skylines in the world, Las Vegas. Caesars Entertainment has nearly 50 casinos worldwide, including these. But no matter which casino you visit, we want you to play responsibly. And if you need help setting or keeping a limit, we hope you'll call this number. You see, we know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
I got my own iPod Touch and use my dad's login to get on gambling sites. Poker is the best, but I'm losing a lot. Since I'm too young to play, they're not allowed to keep the money and my dad won't find out. That's right, isn't it?
And welcome back to Eye on Washington, our look at One Nevada Leader's committee assignments and why she says they matter to you in Nevada. She is my guest today, Nevada U.S. Senator Catherine Cortez-Masto. Well, if you've lived in Nevada, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you or someone you know has been affected, maybe greatly, by the housing crisis that hit Nevada so hard a decade ago. And maybe you also care a lot about this little place in southern Nevada called Yucca Mountain. So let's focus this segment on two big committees the senator serves on. They are Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs and Energy and Natural Resources. The former has jurisdiction over, among other areas, banking, insurance, financial markets, security, housing, urban development and mass transit, international trade and finance, and economic policy. The Energy and Natural Resources Committee oversees natural energy policy, territorial policy, Native Hawaiian matters, and ad hoc issues. And Senator, again, when we remember that many bills originate in committee, it becomes clear why a Nevada U.S. Senator would want to serve on those like these with so many issues that Nevadans are focused on. Was the housing crisis one of the reasons you're glad you are on the committee that
Absolutely.
deals
That's
with that?
why I chose banking to be one of the first committees, because of the work not only that I did in as the Attorney General, but what we went through in Nevada from 2007 to 2014, right? And part of
you
what
lived it all the time.
all the time. And so part of the work I get to do now is really make sure that we're focusing on what's happening in Nevada now. A couple of things. One, I was able to introduce the FHA Foreclosure Prevention Act, which actually gives homeowners rights, just like we did in the state of Nevada before their home is going to be foreclosed on.
Big for Nevadans who fall behind on their
That's
payments,
right. They have certain rights that they have to be noticed and protected before a foreclosure can take place. Now, I learned that obviously because of my work in Nevada when we dealt with the foreclosure crisis. The other thing that's happening in Nevada now, if you spend any time there, which I do all the time, is affordable housing. It's an issue. Affordable housing and some of the highest rents across the country that we see now. You know, I've had the opportunity to hold two stakeholder group meetings, one in Reno and one in Southern Nevada, on kind of bringing everybody together to understand what's going on. And when I talk about affordable housing crisis, it's not just lower income or homelessness. It is workforce housing as well. We have people that are in the workforce that cannot afford a home.
We've done several shows on that in this program, and yeah, it's even people who are making what you would think would be a pretty good living. The houses that they're building now, many are just priced out of reach for that down payment.
And so my goal has been to have these roundtable discussions to figure out what I can do at a federal level to help incentivize or work with our local governments, state governments, as well as the private sector to incentivize this type of building for affordable housing. Because of the work that I've done, I was able to follow up with Reno. Actually, Reno put together a great stakeholder group, brought in a national group to work with them, and literally have recommendations and action items to move through to help incentivize this affordable housing. And they have action items at the federal level. So I co-opted that and said, give me that, we're gonna work with you and figure out how we address this. And then I'm also working with Julia Ratty, state senator in Nevada. She has a committee to address affordable housing in our state legislature. So the idea is to everybody to work together to figure out this issue and find solutions for it.
You know, regarding energy and natural resources, I know you champion the Farm Bill, which my viewers and listeners might not see as affecting them, but it does, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, so many levels. And remember, in Northern Nevada, we have farming, and I work the Farm Bureau all the time on the issues that are important for our businesses there, because there are businesses that are struggling like everywhere else. And then think about this, the SNAP program, the nutrition program comes from the Farm Bill. Development in our rural communities comes from the Farm Bill. Part of the thing that I am proud of is literally working in our rural communities on how we can incentivize and support them. So through this Farm Bill, I was able to introduce legislation that mandates some of our federal agencies to come together to focus on our rural communities.
Excellent.
Right? And so and again, it's a bipartisan bill, but those are the things that I'm able to get done at a federal level after really being on the ground and talking to our local communities about what their needs are.
I know another energy issue that's very important to you, and one of the top reasons you were happy to be on this committee is renewable energy.
That's right.
Why don't you tell us what you've been doing there?
I will. So as you well know, Nevada's, to me, it's an exciting time. We can lead the country in so much of renewable solar, wind, and geothermal, right? But there's also the idea that we can capture some of this new technology that's out there that is a benefit to us. Particularly in renewables, and to reduce our carbon footprint. So I have co-sponsored an electric vehicles bill that is coming out. Very excited about it. I've had the opportunity to talk to many of our local governments and people working in transportation in Nevada, from our state transportation department to our regional transportation commissions in the north and the south, about how we work together to incentivize and promote and study electric vehicles and how we can address that. The other thing that is key for Nevada right now is battery storage. It's an exciting time, right? This is new space as well that will help to incentivize the use of renewables. I am co-sponsoring a bill with one of my colleagues on how we continue to expand the research in storage on batteries and storing this energy so it can be of an efficient use for the future. So those are areas that are very exciting.
Sounds great. Thank you. When we return, interested at all in technology? Well, she is too, wanting Nevada to be a tech leader. Let's talk about that committee and about rules and administration too, right after this.
Nevada's direct link to Capitol Hill. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. The only statewide Nevada news show based in Washington, D.C. All the top federal matters that matter most to Nevadans. Marilee talks with our congressional delegation and other leaders about the federal news you need to know. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. Nevada's Eye on Capitol Hill.
When you think RTC, what comes to mind? How about jobs? RTC road projects bring thousands of jobs to Washoe County, expanding and connecting northern Nevada, growing our local economy, providing a more secure future for our residents and their families. So when you think jobs, think RTC. Your RTC, the RTC of Washoe County.
We're not a miracle drug. We're not a technology. We're not doctors. Just the hope, which can often be the best cure of all. The Ronald McDonald House, a home away from home for seriously ill children and their families.
Planet Hollywood, Paris, Harrah's, Caesar's Palace. It's one of the most exciting skylines in the world, Las Vegas. Caesars Entertainment has nearly 50 casinos worldwide, including these. But no matter which casino you visit, we want you to play responsibly. And if you need help setting or keeping a limit, we hope you'll call this number. You see, we know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
They call me Prince like I'm royalty or something. But the places I've lived ain't no palaces. So I don't need grilled salmon or a new scratching post. Just give me a cardboard box and a can of tuna and we're good. You can even change my name. I'm cool being the kitty formerly known as Prince.
We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
And welcome back to Eye on Washington, our discussion of my guest's legislative efforts that originate in many of the committees on which she serves. And we've been visiting with her, of course. She is Nevada U.S. Senator Catherine Cortez-Masto. Well, let's turn now to the jurisdictions of the Senators' Committees on Commerce, Science, and Transportation and the Committee on Rules and Administration. The former oversees matters related to science and technology, oceans policy, transportation, communications, and consumer affairs, while the Rules Committee holds sway over the rules of the Senate, administration of congressional buildings, and with credentials and qualifications of members of the Senate, including responsibility for dealing with contested elections. I want to start with that latter because on its face, it doesn't sound that jazzy, but I looked into it, and it actually is pretty darn important. I saw, for instance, you played a role in the diversity initiative, didn't you? Okay. And it has come a long way since it was created in 2007 by one Nevada U.S. Senator Harry Reid.
That's right. You know, as I walked the halls of Congress when I first got here, I realized there's not a lot of diversity, right? And my challenge was, how do I bring more of that diversity in the workforce into the halls of Congress. So I had the opportunity to sit down and have discussions with interns and people that work on the Hill to talk about what are the barriers and how do we tear down those barriers. So I sat down with a Latino interns and people that work on the Hill, African American, Asian American, Pacific Islander, LGBTQ. It was a great conversation we had. And the one thing that I learned, which is the first step in getting in, is getting here through internships. But they can afford internships. A lot of people cannot afford to come here because they're not paid internships. And so my goal was then, okay, how do I then take my office and create a scholarship program so that first generation Nevadans can come here and intern, and that's their first step in, and so I did. And then worked with one of my colleagues, was happy to support one of my colleagues who introduced in the last budget bill an opportunity to fund interns so that we all as senators pay our interns and they're not just volunteers and expected to get here on their own.
I was interested too in the mention of the committee's oversight of contested elections, something that seems to happen more frequently.
It is, and actually, and rightfully so. We need to protect the integrity of our election process.
Quickly to maybe the one you want to talk about a little more, commerce, science, and transportation. What are some top Nevada benefiting reasons that you wanted to serve there?
It's exciting. Nevada's an innovation state, and I talk about this all the time. We are innovators. It's an innovation state. Let's continue to promote it and support it. That means that we continue to support the drones that are being tested there, electric vehicles I've talked about, the fact that we should have smart communities, all this new technology. This 21st century technology is the Internet of Things. We're going to have smart communities, smart transportation grid. My goal has been to incentivize it. So with the Moving First Act that I introduced with one of my Republican colleagues, incentivize smart communities for transportation.
I saw that at the end of May. You led a roundtable at TMCC's Applied Technology Center, and part of your overall work, it was part of the work to advance the Innovation State Initiative. Tell us about the roundtable and kind of your push to strengthen Nevada's leadership in technology.
You know, that was it. It was really to talk about how we work together to embrace the use of this new technology. We need to invest in it. It creates jobs, right? And at the same time, not only should we be investing in it, we have to invest in the broadband that's necessary to bring that technology and connect all of our communities, whether you're
including
in urban or rural areas. That's right.
Big deal.
That's right. And then we need to make sure we are training the workforce of the future with this new technology. What's the curriculum that's necessary so we can train a workforce that will utilize the new technology?
We're almost out of time for this segment, but quickly, the commerce and transportation side, what were some things you've been working on there?
Same thing. So the Moving First Act, smart communities, the Drone Act, make sure we're a test site for the drones, the Speed Act, making sure we can streamline some of the permitting for the use of this technology, Code Like a Girl, make sure we're introducing young girls to coding and programming. I mean, there's so much opportunity, and that's what I'm excited about.
Thanks. When we return, the committees on Indian Affairs and Aging. Let's find out why they matter to the Silver State. We'll have it right after this.
Planet Hollywood, Paris, Harrah's, Caesar's Palace. It's one of the most exciting skylines in the world, Las Vegas. Caesars Entertainment has nearly 50 casinos worldwide, including these. But no matter which casino you visit, we want you to play responsibly. And if you need help setting or keeping a limit, we hope you'll call this number. You see, we know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
Nevada's direct link to Capitol Hill. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. The only statewide Nevada news show based in Washington, D.C. All the top federal matters that matter most to Nevadans. Marilee talks with our congressional delegation and other leaders about the federal news you need to know. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. Nevada's Eye on Capitol Hill.
I got my own iPod Touch and use my dad's login to get on gambling sites. Poker is the best, but I'm losing a lot. Since I'm too young to play, they're not allowed to keep the money and my dad won't find out. That's right, isn't it?
Are you studying tonight? We can meet up and study together.
Just text me after.
Okay. No!
There is no text, tweet, or call that's worth a life.
One pedestrian death is one too many.
Look up.
And look out for each other.
Having your child hospitalized can be a terrifying experience for any parent. In one moment, everything can change. Here at the Reno Ronald McDonald House, we can help. We keep families together when it matters the most by providing a home away from home for families with children in the hospital. Parents who stay at the Ronald McDonald House have more time with their children during the healing process. Please contact us today for more information and to see how you can help. Donate online at rmhc-reno.org.
Want more federal news that affects Nevada, its businesses, and its residents? Then you need to subscribe to Nevada's Washington Watch newsletter, your sole source of online news direct from Washington, D.C. Visit joycecommunications.com and subscribe today.
Welcome back to Eye on Washington, our show looking at my guest committee assignments and why they matter to you. And we've had as our guest today Nevada U.S. Senator Catherine Cortez-Masto. If you care about Native American matters or about issues important to you or your elders like Medicare and Social Security, you're going to be glad to know the senator serves on Indian Affairs, which focuses on Indian education, economic development, land management, trust responsibilities, health care, and claims against the United States, as well as Senate legislation proposed that pertains to American Indians, Native Hawaiians, or Alaska Natives. And meanwhile, the Senate Select Committee on Aging, while having no legislative authority, studies issues important to older Americans like Medicare and Social Security. Senator, we don't have a lot of time in this segment, but two biggies for you. First, let's start with aging. I know that you've been working hard to help those with Alzheimer's.
That's right. Senator Collins and I introduced the BOLD Act, which is to address, to create centers of excellence on Alzheimer's research and education and so much more to really focus on Alzheimer's disease.
And regarding the Native Americans, I've done human trafficking issues a lot on the show. It's important to Nevada. I'm especially interested in the July introduction of your End of Trafficking Native Americans Act. What does it do?
That's it. Lisa Murkowski and I introduced it to make sure that we are investigating and prosecuting for human trafficking on Indian land.
It's big there, right?
It is big. It's an issue that we need to address, and we need to make sure where everybody's focused on it.
Good luck with it.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here today. Hope to see you soon. That does wrap up today's Eye on Washington, and I do hope you'll join us next time for another look at federal matters that matter most to you in Nevada. In the meantime, though, we're always here for you, providing all the federal news Nevadans need to know. Just go to our website, joycecommunications.com. While you're there, check out all the federal issues that impact you in Nevada. You can like us on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and catch up with any shows you may have missed on our YouTube page. Thanks for joining us today on Eye on Washington. I'm Marilee Joyce in Washington, D.C. Have a great day.
Thank you for watching Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce airs statewide in Nevada solely due to the generosity of our sponsors. Can your company help us continue our mission to remain Nevada's top source of federal news? If you can help us help Nevadans, please visit joycecommunications.com/WordPress/EOW sponsors and join us today. That's joycecommunications.com/WordPress/EOW sponsors.